Hi there, it's Adam bringing you another video to the channel. We are of course continuing the 21-22 UK Model Airport Series in 1/400 scale. Rather heavy with cargo and sort of particular wide bodies in this update. More so on the right hand side, as you can probably tell from the opening scenes of the video. Not much activity on the left hand side. We are focusing in on the Wednesday schedules around about 8 PM, so sort of mid-evening, I'd probably say. Going to go through obviously schedules and sort of bring up anything that kind of comes to mind along the way. I have you probably won't really notice, to be honest, but I have got a new table, which is what the airport is sitting on. So yesterday, well, a week ago, I ordered a new table because the one I had like supports underneath from the legs, sort of at an angle into the middle, and then sort of across, joining into the middle. It was like a foldable table, which was convenient. It is a practical kind of table for maybe other purposes, but to accommodate for the storage underneath wasn't so good because it was restricting how I could stack models and where they could go and things like that. So I thought, no, I've got to find a table that's just got standard legs, straightforward legs, nothing in, open space underneath, and we shouldn't really have any issues. It certainly made it a lot neater. Before though, I kind of organised it in a sense that I'd have all the airlines together, that would be the same. So I had like all the TUIs together, all the Uniteds together. Whereas this time, kind of similar to what I've done before, I've done it in box size. And this is probably one of the most annoying things about models, is all the models come in different size boxes. Gemini jets, for instance, use standard boxes for a variation of aircraft, and like obviously NG do smaller boxes for narrow body aircraft, and they're all different. Obviously the wide body aircraft tend to be obviously bigger boxes, as you can imagine, which is fair enough. So I've kind of done that. If I'm just going to show you as well, so you can get an idea of what I mean. So this is the selection underneath. You can see there a whole variation. I've kind of got a grid system going on. I've kind of got like a grid system going on in that regard, so that when I'm doing the updates, I know where each model is. So starting from the right to left, it starts with Alpha 1, Alpha 2, so there's like 3 rows, if you like. Alpha at the back, Bravo in the middle, then Charlie at the front. And it basically goes like Alpha 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I think in the middle it goes up to like 7, and then at the minute we've only got like about 3, 4 at the front. But it just helps me navigate where each model is. And also doing what I've done, if I do acquire more models for this time period, then there's certainly a little bit of room to play with for other models if they arrive. So that kind of helps that situation. Not much more to report on that, in a sense. But yeah, it's just something I thought I'd let you know. You probably, like I say, generally you probably won't notice, though I did have to sort of adjust the background a little bit, so it kind of come back down to the level it should be at. But we'll get into the actual update now. As I mentioned, on this left side, it's pretty sparse. But we'll start off with this British Airways BA Cityflyer E190, operating as BA 8719, getting ready for departure back to London City at registration Golf Lima Charlie Yankee Oscar. Then on the far side, having just arrived, we have this Jet2 Holidays A321 arriving from Paphos. This is operating a return leg on rotation with Golf Lima Sierra Alpha Bravo, which did the outbound. Registration of this is Golf Hotel Lima Yankee Foxtrot. Then we have this Qatar 777 300ER. Registration Alpha 7 Bravo Alpha X-Ray. It's arriving from Doha as QR15. I do like this livery, by the way. It's probably one of my favourites in regards to the World Cup liveries they did. I just want to highlight as well, I'm looking forward to the new Champions League livery they've unveiled. That does look cool. I imagine Phoenix probably do that, and wouldn't be surprised if NG do it as well. For all we know, JC Wings might even be in the market to do it as well, I'm not sure, but I think more so Phoenix and NG possibly are probably the favourites. I'd probably also get that in 1/200 scale as well. I do like the livery. I'm a big football fan. I do like the Champions League, European nights. Generally just as neutral as well. Kind of goes back to the last video as well after watching the Champions League final. So yeah, I'd definitely get that, and I know that's going to be a modern day setting. That won't feature on these updates because this is 21-22 kind of schedules rather than present day 2025. So, but it's certainly one to look at and get hold of, once we get to, if we get to the stage of kind of modern day. Then we have this Sri Lankan A330-200 operating from and to Colombo as UL503-504. Registration for Romeo Alpha Lima Bravo. One thing to note, Sri Lankan Airlines have just acquired a new, well, I say a new, in their fleet it's new, but another A330. Registration is for Romeo Alpha Lima Tango, I believe, and from what I've read, they've got another 2 on order. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if they get released. Again, NG might do it because they've done Sri Lankan, and again possibly Phoenix. This model in particular is Dragon Wings, which is not a bad representation, and it's one that I certainly appreciate having to rotate with. You remember arriving from, I think it was the last update, we had this Korean Air Cargo 7478 freighter. Registration Hotel Lima 7639. This is headed back out to Seoul after arriving from Frankfurt. Operating as KE540. So he's now departing. In the background there we have the regular Aerologic 777-200 freighter. Registration Delta Alpha Alpha Lima Charlie. Arriving from Leipzig, and we'll head out to Cincinnati. Again, I mentioned it previously. I'd like to have another Aerologic, whether it be in the normal colours or DHL colours. I mean, I'd probably welcome both. I don't think this mould is particularly the best, if I'm honest, but it is the only Aerologic in 1/400 scale. Certainly in terms of standard sort of Aerologic colours, so it would be nice to certainly welcome another one of them. Next up we have this UPS 767 300 freighter. Registration November 320 Uniform Papa. Operating as UPS 237 inbound from Philadelphia. And then we have this DHL 767-300 freighter as well. Registration Golf Delta Hotel Lima Echo. This essentially is another based aircraft. This is actually going to be staying in overnight. It did actually operate a service in the early hours of the morning, so according to the schedules, that is kind of scheduled in, but obviously, given the time, around about 1:30 in the morning, whatever it is, there's not a lot else going on. So I don't really focus on updates around about that time. But it will follow suit, and going into Thursday schedules, it will then depart again around about similar time, around about 1:30. Operating this DHK 792 from Bahrain. And that is the update. I think I pretty much covered everything I needed to. I've gone through, background information regarding, I've got a new table to accommodate better for the models that I've got sort of running on these schedules. So yeah, just going back to that point in the video, all the models boxes that you can see, they are all scheduled movements or models that will be featured at some point in updates. So there's a lot to get through, a lot of rotation there. Probably a lot of certainly a lot of schedules that we still haven't featured as we go into sort of the back end of the week, and we're not even halfway through the week yet in terms of the schedules. So these are still a lot to go. But yeah, covered everything. Again, I mentioned about Sri Lankan, I mentioned about Qatar 777, Champions League livery, which I'll be looking forward to getting. If I would prefer NG, I'd be surprised if NG didn't do that kind of livery, to be fair. But whatever's on the market, then I'll probably get. And again, I'd certainly get that in 1:200 scale as well. I think it looks pretty good. But the next update will focus on a sort of 11:30, like 11:30 PM time frame. By that point, a lot of the cargo movements will go, but I think there's a couple of more cargo movements to feature as well. 1 or 2 off the top of my head, and then we will probably have some of the based aircraft coming back as well. As you can imagine, to stay over the night, ready for departure in the morning. I just want to conclude. I do appreciate the continued support on this kind of series. Probably is unusual to do updates weekly, but given the kind of concept of this basis, it's not a massive layout, and if I waited a whole month or even 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the whole concept would just gather dust and it'd just be a nightmare. And it keeps me going, as I said, and yeah, I appreciate those of you that do watch the videos and obviously help me out with any information that I need. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and we will continue next weekend.